Okay, so I'm gonna walk through a sample multi-day project. We're gonna pretend that we're breaking this project out over multi-days. We're also assuming that the content outline is done. We're also assuming that the style tile and the wireframes are done. So now we're just in the building part of our process. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my files and my as a student. So I'm pretending I'm a student right now, and my student name is VCD. So I'm gonna go ahead and clone this. Okay, I'm gonna clone my files. All right, so you see here, all I have is not a lot of work done, and so I want to get caught up. So let's pretend I'm behind. Okay, so I want to get caught up to the rest of the class. So here I have my repo that I just cloned, and there's not much there but an index and a README. So the next thing I would want to do is go get the starter files from class. Right, I'm behind. I want to catch up, and it's linked right here from the project description. So here's P1 project description, and we can go ahead and go to the website that contains the files. Now, my student name is VCD. The professor's name is EW Web Lab. Good name, professor. Okay, so what we want to do is not clone, but download these files and poach over what we need. So we're going to go into download zip, and we're going to download those zip files. All right, so I'm right here. All I have is index and readme, right? I'm behind. So then under the movie trailer master, right, this is the files we downloaded. I'm going to extract those. So what we have here is our existing repo right here, and we have the new files that we just downloaded. So we want to start over, draw a line in the sand, or just continue on from a better place, all right, a new starting point. So you can just write that in here, new starting point. Right, and then do what you need to. In this case, I just had to delete those files. So I'm starting blank, okay, and this is gonna have everything that we need there, and so we can go ahead and commit that to master, and so now we have a blank slate to work from. And then we're going to simply copy over all the files we need, and then once you've done that, you're done with movie trailer master. Like, you don't have to do any more work. This should be all done and done, right? So we can delete what we extracted, and we can also delete what we downloaded. Like, that's all over with, right? So then GitHub says, hey, you get a whole bunch of new files. And say, yes, GitHub, I do. So we're going to come in here and just say, thanks, or let's get to work. I'm going to commit that, and then sync that back up. Okay, so I did some work. I did quite a bit of work. I'm going to sync it. And once this is done syncing, we should go probably check and make sure that it's there. And that could be the end of day one. That should be enough. It's the end of day one, and we just need to clean up after ourselves. So we want to say, hey, GitHub, I'm done working. So you can control click and remove that repo. And because you remove the repo, you should probably delete the files from the computer. And so it's not there anymore. We have a blank slate to start on day 2. Okay, so it's day 2, and we're continuing on with our project. We should not have any files on our computer, because if we have our project files on our computer, it defeats the purpose of version control. We want to get our files off our computers and onto one canonical source on the GitHub. So I don't have any files to work with, so step 1, get files. So we're going to go ahead and get that repo from day 1. Okay, again, I'm the student named VCD, and I'll go ahead and clone that. So step 1, clone what you own. All right, so there was my last commit. Said let's get to work, new starting point. You remember that from day 1. Now that you have that, you can go ahead and drop this thing into brackets and get to work. All right, so now that we have our files up and our preview going, we're going to double check and make sure that we have everything that we need. First, the plugins, brackets SAS, and Emmet. Check. And then do we have a brackets.json? So if you have a brackets.json file there, you can keep working and you don't need to do anything. But it looks like I forgot to copy it over, so no problem. I'm going to go ahead and make a blank file. Go find the code for that, which should be on our course website here. So here's brackets.json. I'm going to simply copy that, paste it into here, hit save, and this is an invisible file, so we're going to put it to our movie trailer folder, and we're going to name this thing .brackets.json, And again, if you don't feel comfortable typing, you can just go ahead and copy it exactly from the course website. Both will work. And again, everything with the preceding dot extension is hidden, so you shouldn't see these files except inside of brackets, except inside of your editor. And it says, do you want to use the dot notation? Yes, use it. And there's brackets.json with the code that we copied. So we're good there. So now we can close that up and we never have to touch it again. So everything is working. So now we want to make sure that our Sass is compiling. So we're going to go into our video, our style.scss or Grand Central Station and select the body and just make a change. And you'll see right there that it did preview it, so it's working. Red, teal, yellow. All right, so everything is compiling. We're good, good, good. Okay. And if it wasn't compiling for some reason, right, simply just close up Sass. All right, reopen it again. Right, run the preview, okay, and just do this little test. Okay, just changing the background color is such a good indicator of. As you're working, please stick to our process from class. Stick to what the browser is expecting: HTML first, CSS second, and JavaScript last. So the first part is we're going to be inside of index.html for a little bit here, and we're going to go get our file because we have the sample file here. So we have the sample file. We want our actual trailer, so we should go get that. So here is the trailer on YouTube. I'm going to copy that URL. I'm going to paste it right here into keep vid. Again, this is all linked out from the course description for P1 movie trailer. All this stuff is right here. Please note on P1 movie trailer, there's all these check boxes right here. Right, these are just for you. So go through and mentally check through all these. So after the video has processed, control click save link as and save it to your video folder. And the video folder should be inside of your repo. So trailer.mp4 is your first format. Save that and then control click the WebM. If you don't have WebM, go ahead and grab any other ones that are available to you. You can also click on more options. And then control click save link as, but we do have a WebM in this case, and we'll save that one into the video folder also as trailer.webm. So I've already previously downloaded that, so I'm going to go ahead and link those up. So we need to change this in our source code, video slash, right, and change this in our source, video slash trailer.webm. And we want to make sure that the type attribute matches. So this first one is an MP4. This one gets video slash MP4. This one is a WebM. This type attribute is going to get the value of video slash WebM. Okay. All right, so now that you have those two, we can move on to the other content. Okay, so I've added in all of my content, add title of the movie, the trailers for the movie, description of the movie, links out to interviews, a Wikipedia page, the company website, a place to buy it from Amazon. So this is all of my content that has been changed now. So I guess I can buy it from Amazon for $80, but I have it in the basement. Let's see here, and then copyright. You can change whatever copyright the year of the movie is. In this case, mine came out in 2000, and that should be enough for the content. Yeah. And again, everyone should have a different content because everyone has different movies. You can add more or less content, actors, production notes, anything related to the trailer. All right, and I think that's enough work for today. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a commit message here, right? Let's add it in content for movie. So wrong keyboard here, content for movie. All right, hit commit to master, hit sync, yeah, and get ready to do my third day of work. And to day 2, I'm gonna go ahead and tell GitHub, done working, remove it. Delete the local files because in day 3 we're going to clone a new copy, and therefore those are going to be out of date. So let's move on to day 3. Okay, so we're in day 3 and I see, I forgot to remove the files, so I'm going to delete those real fast and then control click, tell GitHub stop tracking that folder, because if I went to open in Finder, and I've seen this has happened to a few of you, look how it's gone to the trash. So that's something to take note of here. As you're looking through this, why did it jump to the trash? Because I deleted it, and GitHub is smart enough to say, well, you go reveal in Finder, I'm going to jump to where you just put it. In this case, it's the trash. So keep track of where your files are. Again, if we don't know where our files are, GitHub has no shot. So we're going to go ahead and hit remove on this, and then we're going to clone it again. Okay. And take a look at some of the CSS stuff. Alright, so we have that. Go ahead and open it in brackets. And check for what needs to be there, which you should already have, but it's always good to make sure, just give it a quick compile real fast. Okay. What happened there? We downloaded it, and then we took a look at the files here. So we made the background red, we made it green. In this case, we can make it cornflower blue. Okay, we're doing that for a reason here. So you saw that sometimes Sass does this. It puts it into the wrong folder, and still not quite sure it does that, but that's okay. So we know it's supposed to compile to the CSS folder. So all you would need to do is go ahead and control click and delete that one. And just to show you that it's this is the wrong file, we can search the wrong file for cornflower blue, and we're not going to see anything. But we can search the right file in the CSS folder for cornflower blue. You can see that there it is right there. Okay, there's our last file. And again, what it's doing is taking all that CSS and just compiling it for us and making it into one nice compact file. So we're going to delete the CSS files because they don't belong there, because this is the Sass folder. We're going to delete both the CSS file and the style.css.map, and that map is like the directions of what folder to put it in. So we can go ahead and delete that, and we can make this thing teal again and orange, and it's all working. And we come into here, we can search for orange, and there you go, body background orange. So everything is working the way it's supposed to, and these are little things that you could do to make sure that everything is running the way it's supposed to. Okay, so here I have controls.svg open. Gone ahead and ungrouped all the layers or layer paths or whatever Adobe is choosing to call it nowadays. So we're going to go ahead and select some of our UI elements, and let's give them a different color, and give this one a different color on the play button. Now if it goes to grayscale and not RGB, simply change the color mode to RGB from the color palette. For some reason, these files from the developer, some of the layer paths are going to a different color. So again, using the color palette, just easily change it from grayscale to RGB, and there it goes. We made a few changes. You can go ahead and make changes to any of these other UI elements. So now we're going to go File, Export, and we're going to do it the wrong way first, so I can show you what not to do. We're going to write over existing files. In this case, we're editing controls.svg. We want to write over controls.svg. So just go ahead and replace that. And notice that here I have a responsive check. So we're going to do this the wrong way. Again, the wrong way. And check responsive. You want presentation attributes and SVG and preserve, and these are basically the defaults. So keep presentation attributes and these other defaults. We're going to go ahead and hit OK on this, and so we're going to write over our existing file, and you're going to see something happen to our UI here, that it's given us the responsive or the scaled down version. So it's basically taking the SVG and scaling it to this little box right here, and that's not what we want. We want a fixed size SVG. So to get around that, we just go File, Export again. Again, we're editing controls.svg. We're going to write over controls.svg, replace that, and we're going to uncheck responsive, keep presentation attributes, and then write over that file. So now when we take a look at it, you'll see that it looks like this, and it's fixed size and all the UI is correct. So that's one little trick there. So again, you're going to go File, Export, and uncheck responsive. So we know that we're loading our video with nothing but a simple video element and two sources, and we know that we can change the UI icons with the SVG files. But we can also change other elements that are being dynamically drawn. So if we take a look at our video element, there's all this markup here that we didn't add, and these are the hooks that JavaScript is giving us. That just like lettering, we didn't have to add in those spans, and just like fitvids, we didn't need to add that wrapper. The JavaScript dynamically added that in for us. So here we have a wrapper for the video, and here's the wrapper for the player, and the wrapper for the controls. And let's say we wanted to change the size of the controls. Well, it'd be as easy as, let me make this full screen, as selecting the element and changing it. So no different from Web 1. Select the element and change it. So we have the element selected here for the time. You see, well, the font size is in here, but if you look down here, it says inherited from this div here. And if we click on that, it jumps us right to there. See why we love the dev tools? We also can Command F and find any class names. So again, I just selected an element. So let's say I wanted to select the time over here. Okay, and I don't see font size, I don't see color, but right below it says all those other properties are inherited from here. So we simply just click on it, and it's just a huge time saver. Just love the dev tools. So let's go ahead and we can do something like we can change the color to match that green. Okay, so we can change the color there. We can also highlight the font size and make it bigger. Okay. And so if we wanted to make those changes permanent, we would simply just copy and paste the hook. It's just easy as just copying the selector, right? And like the browser is telling what the selector is. .me.js _time. And so now we can go into our global.scss file, find the section for our video player styling, paste that right into there, and then paste in the properties that we would want it to change. In this case, we wanted color, so here's our rapid prototyping. We prototyped inside the browser, and we liked it, so now we're just going to simply copy out what we want. In this case, we also want the font size. So we're always icing on the cake, even for the style sheets, because we're overwriting the existing styling that's being inherited here from the player.scss. And if you take a look at the framework, I put these in the order in which the best order in which they should go. So grid, the player, all of our global stylings, and then any changes per device sizes. So this would be the best way to do the inheritance. So under global.css, right, here's our video player, and if we save it and take a look at it now and refresh it, you'll see that those changes now are permanent and they've committed. So we can do the same thing for the rail. We can select the rail, and we see here that no background color is being applied to the rail, but the color is being applied here. So you can go ahead and click on this and test it out. And there's a bit of opacity here, so I want a full color. So I might change the opacity to 1 and pick my bright green again, right? And there we've changed the rail color. And so we'll do that same thing. We're going to select our hook, and look at the browser is telling you what the hook is. You don't need to find and replace, you just select it, copy and paste. Alright, so I'm going to copy that and paste that into there, and then take just the one property I want to change. I want to keep the margin, right, because it's being inherited from player.scss. The width is being inherited, and so the only thing I want different is the background color, and so that's what we're going to keep. And so this is going to have a higher specificity, because we know from Web 1 that the lower it goes into the lower that it is in your style sheet, the higher the specificity if all things are equal. And we can refresh that, and it's permanent now. Now we've made all those changes to the UI. Okay. And go commit this message. Like change video UI. Alright, on to day 4. Alright, on to day 4 of our sample workflow. Again, you could work as fast or as slow as you like. The big thing here is that you have a commit history. So we're going to clone it for, I think, the last time here. Alright, so my sample student here called VCD. And this is what we want, right? So in our little demo here, we've gone through all this, and this is what I'm looking for. This is your work history. This is what you've done, and how often you've worked on a project. And this is what we're going to be using in industry. So it's important that we know this. So clone what you own, download what you don't. And so we've cloned it. And now we can get back to work. Alright, so in day 4 we're going to go ahead and take a look at the JavaScript part, and then once we look at the JavaScript we can see what we can change. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. So first off, let's go ahead and take a look at our scripts.js, and we have our h1 and it's applying lettering, and simply it's just giving us character hooks. So you go into our global, right, and under our typography here we can select our h1 inside of the header, I believe. Let's see here. Yep, it's inside the header, so h1 or header space h1. You do stuff like change the text transform to uppercase, maybe align it center, and then once we have those hooks we can change some, maybe the font size 3M. I think an h1 is already 3M, but I could be wrong. Alright, and then from here you have all the hooks to style it. So let's say I wanted to make the T look different. Alright, so I would go header dot char 4, okay, and background red, color white. Right, and this is where I don't think I need to do anymore, because this is all you now. This is where you demonstrate what you know from Web 1. Okay, so style it, match it to your style tile, match it to your content, right? Because you have all these hooks to change it. Alright, so let's pretend this is all styled out. So now let's take a look at the media element player. And so if you take a look at scripts.js, this is all the media element player. And I think this is great because look at all the functionality we have by writing 2 lines of JavaScript. This is all we've written, right? Select the h1, apply this plugin. Select the video, apply this plugin. And for this first project, if you can just understand this part, understand that JavaScript is giving us hooks to style a website that we didn't have before, you'll be in a good spot. And so once we pretend that this side is all done and we've adjusted it to all these different sizes, again, take a look at your media queries, right, and about what is happening at each page size. I think you'll be good to go. Okay. And that should do it. So I'm going to make my last commit message here, and we're going to pretend we're all done and just make it all done. Of course, your site's going to look way better. Way better. I'm going to hit sync on this and call it a wrap on this project. Okay, so we went through the 4-day process. We have an entire work history here from each one of our sample days, right? I'm putting days in air quotes here, and we can see all the change that we've done. Okay, so take a look at my files, compare them to your files, make sure that brackets.json is there and working, and have fun with this one.